President Rodrigo Duterte receives U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson during a courtesy call in Malacanang. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre orders the NBI to look into the alleged 1 billion peso unexplained wealth of COMELEC Chairman Andres Bautista. Local oil companies announce new price increases for their petroleum products effective tomorrow. President Rodrigo Duterte this afternoon received visiting U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson during a courtesy call in Malacanang. Tillerson was accompanied to Malacanang by U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines Sung Kim and other embassy officials. Also present were several members of the President's cabinet. Presidential spokesperson Ernesto Abella earlier said that among the issues expected to be tackled by the President and Tillerson were the Marawi City terrorist siege and Balangiga bells. The President also met with Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop. The Chief Executive took the occasion to thank Bishop for her government support, particularly on the Marawi relief and rehabilitation issue. Although membership in the ASEAN is exclusive and confined primarily to geographic locations in the Pacific Rim, the emerging economic and cultural alliance is more than glad to make accommodations to other nations outside its geographic sphere who are willing to actively participate in ASEAN's affairs. PTV's Jervis Manahan dwells on one such special and thriving arrangement conceived 20 years ago that includes no less than Asia's Big Three, or the three major industrialized and economic powerhouses of the continent in this report.
Coinciding with ASEAN's golden anniversary, the ASEAN Plus 3 is also celebrating its 20th year this year. The Plus 3 is composed of Japan, China, and South Korea. It was established in 1997 at the height of the Asian financial crisis. But 2 decades have passed and the organization has significantly expanded.
It has expanded from financial and economic stability to include regional and global security, food security, connectivity, energy, health, and pandemic disease, culture, environment, and biodiversity conservation, tourism, science and technology.
In a meeting this morning, the group committed into putting an end to violence in the region.
Our meeting will affirm our commitment to broaden APT cooperation in addressing the traditional and non-traditional security issues such as terrorism and violent extremism.
The Foreign Affairs Secretary also thanked the 3 East Asian countries for their tourists who visit Southeast Asia.
We are elated over the continuous flow of tourists in ASEAN from Plus 3 countries. Thank you very much. And we hope that tourism will remain as one of the main areas of collaboration of the APT. In ASEAN, we have openly embraced the presence of citizens of our Plus 3 who have easily settled not only to visit or to be tourists, but also to live among us as ASEAN citizens.
It is undeniable that ASEAN has heavy links with China, Japan, and South Korea in the aspects of the economy and trade. But they do admit that a lot still has to be done.
We should now strive to make it more forward-looking and future-oriented. Let us remind ourselves of the vision we had in the beginning of achieving a region of peace, prosperity, and progress.
ASEAN Plus 3 currently follows a work plan which started in 2007 and will end this year. Another plan, spanning from 2018 up to 2022, is in the works. Meanwhile, Secretary Cayetano also had a meeting with North Korean Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho this afternoon. During this meeting, Cayetano conveyed the ASEAN statement regarding the crisis in the Korean Peninsula. The statement is a call for DPRK to follow the resolutions set by the United Nations Security Council. ASEAN issued a statement after North Korea launched an intercontinental ballistic missile last July 4. Jervis Manahan for The Nation.
Yesterday, ASEAN and China approved the framework for a Code of Conduct, or COC, in the West Philippine Sea, South China Sea, and targeted to start the negotiations on the actual code by the end of the year. In a press briefing, Foreign Affairs spokesperson Robespierre Bolivar said foreign ministers of the 10-member regional bloc and China adopted the COC framework at the 50th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting, or AMM. Bolivar said they expect a paragraph in the AMM chairman statement reflecting the adoption of the COC framework. The statement will be issued at the end of AMM tomorrow, August 8. More details in this report.
Successful. That's how Department of Foreign Affairs acting spokesperson Robespierre Bolivar described the results of the first set of ministerial meetings between Association of Southeast Asian Nations member state and its dialogue partners. This includes the approval of the draft code of conduct in the South China Sea. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said that 11 foreign ministers agreed upon and adopted the COC framework draft, and sometime within the year, they will start the consultation of the text within the COC. Wang Yi also added that by the end of this month, all the parties will discuss the spirit, the principle behind, and the plans for the next stage of the consultation of the COC. Singaporean Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan emphasized that having this framework is a huge progress.
Finally, ASEAN welcomes the finalization of the framework for the Code of Conduct on the South China Sea in Guiyang in June recently. This framework is very important, and it represents the culmination of effective and constructive cooperation between ASEAN and China over the past year.
But according to Bolivar, the framework of the COC will not be released due to the sensitivity of the matters included in the document. ASEAN and the People's Republic of China believe this will improve relations among countries within the region. Meanwhile, ministerial meetings between ASEAN and Canada also yielded positive results. Bolivar said that Canadian government will donate 10 million Canadian dollars for scholarship programs in all ASEAN member states. Aside from this, Bolivar also said that Justin Trudeau has been invited by President Rodrigo Duterte to be one of the guests in the upcoming East Asia Summit this November. He also said that in ministerial meetings between ASEAN and Korea, both agreed to promote micro, small, and medium enterprises, while the extension of maritime security in the region and the fight against terrorism were raised during the ministerial meeting of ASEAN and New Zealand. Meanwhile, the FA is confident the next ministerial meetings will zero in improving relations in the Southeast Asian region. Kenneth Pasyente for The Nation.
The NBI will look into allegations of unexplained wealth against COMELEC Chairman Andres Bautista. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II ordered the investigation in the wake of the claim of Chairman Bautista's wife, Patricia Paz, that her husband has amassed some 1 billion pesos in unexplained wealth. Mrs. Bautista has executed an affidavit before the NBI on allegations against her husband. Meanwhile, Chairman Bautista denied his wife's allegations, saying that the supposed bank accounts are fake. Diane Carrere has this report.
Ang aking pong pagkatao para po akong naghahasa sa aking sariling pamamahay. Ito po ay maliwanag na paninikil at panggigipit na ginagawa sa akin.
This was the statement of Commission on Elections or COMELEC Chairman Andres Bautista in the accusations of her wife that he has ill-gotten wealth that amounted to almost 1 billion pesos. According to Chairman Bautista's wife Patricia, she found bank passbooks and real property documents in their house which were not declared in his husband's Statement of Assets and Liabilities and Net Worth or SALN. Chairman Bautista says that the allegations are all lies and that his wife is being used by some opportunistic individuals for a political agenda.
Ang binabahiran ay hindi lang ako ang COMELEC, pati na rin yung eleksyon natin noong 2016. At pasasabi ko na siguro our May 2016 elections are the cleanest and the best managed in Philippine election history.
Bautista defends that all his properties are declared in his SALN and accounts that his wife says are undeclared are fake accounts. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice has already ordered the National Bureau of Investigation to conduct an investigation case build-up on the accusations against Chairman Bautista. Some senators also seek to conduct a separate investigation on the issue. Senator Tito Soto III says that the public has the right to know the assets, liabilities, and net worth of public officials, and that the accusations against Chairman Bautista is an issue that concerns public interest. Senator Grace Poe says that the issue is no longer a wife versus husband quarrel, but there is a possibility that it is a husband versus the people case. Chairman Bautista meanwhile says that he is ready to face any investigation against him. Diane Carrere for The Nation.
In Malacanang, presidential spokesperson Ernesto Abella said President Rodrigo Duterte wants the investigation on Bautista to give him the opportunity to answer the allegations of his wife. Mrs. Bautista was earlier reported to have met with the president on the issue.
Well, the whole matter has to be fully investigated. At this stage, that's all we can say. Thank you.
The wife, Miss Patricia Bautista, is saying that the president promised her help or assistance. Would you know what kind of assistance?
Well, according to media, I think the words were that he would look into it.
Oil prices are going up anew tomorrow. Flying V, Filipina Shell, Sea Oil Philippines, Phoenix Petroleum, and PTT Philippines have announced the price adjustments. Flying V, Shell, and Sea Oil will raise gasoline prices by 1 peso per liter, diesel by 80 centavos per liter, and kerosene by 85 centavos per liter. Phoenix and PTT will also implement similar adjustments for gasoline and diesel. Flying V will enforce the price increase effective midnight tonight, while the others will hike their prices starting 6 a.m. tomorrow. Other oil firms are expected to follow suit. Budget Secretary Benjamin Diokno says government underspending is a major flaw that is delaying several projects, particularly in infrastructure, from being completed. Diokno made the statement during the Senate Committee on Finance's first hearing on the proposed 2018 national budget of 3.767 trillion pesos. Diokno said although underspending has improved over the years, it is still happening. He said that in 2016, budget underspending reached 96.3 billion pesos or 3.6% of the budget. Last July 24, President Rodrigo Duterte submitted to Congress the proposed 2018 national budget. The Department of Budget and Management earlier said that the proposed budget prioritizes education and infrastructure development, particularly for the government's infrastructure program, Build, 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 and the provision of social services to the people. The AFP is not relaxing its guard against armed groups in Mindanao. This even as government forces continue to make headway in the campaign against terrorists and other lawless elements in the region. The details from Rocky Ignacio.
High security measures will stay in the country, particularly in Mindanao. In the Mindanao Hour briefing, AFP spokesperson Brigadier General Restituto Padilla said possible threats will continue since Maute Group, BIFF, and the Abu Sayyaf Group still exist. Although there is no report of a new threat like the Marawi siege, Padilla asked public to remain vigilant to prevent any disturbance to peace and order.
Wala naman po. Itong mga anunsyo na nakuha natin itong mga nakaraan ay proactive announcements natin dahil patuloy tayong nagmo-monitor at nagmamasid. Pero sa kasalukuyan, nakalatag naman po ng maayos ang puwersa natin kasama ang mga puwersa ng kapulisan. Ganon din ang ibang security partners natin at naniniwala kami na angkop ito sa anumang banta na nariyan. Kaya madalas nababalitaan nyo, may mga pagkakataon ng mga sagupaan kasi aktibo po ang ating militar at pulis na nagbabantay.
While the military operations in Marawi are about to end, Padilla asked residents not to return to their respective homes unless cleared by the AFP. Padilla said there are reports of explosions in the area. He said unexploded improvised explosive devices left by the Maute Group had been triggered due to change of weather.
And we'd like to clarify that because of the hundreds of unexploded ordnance in the area, we believe that this could have been among those that have been in the area for quite some time. And because of the changing weather patterns in the city of Marawi, which has been experiencing a lot of rainfall lately, and potential changes of static electricity in the area, it may have triggered some of these unexploded ordnance to explode, and may have been the cause of this reported explosion. So this investigation is ongoing, but we do believe that it could be part of the unexploded ordnance that were left.
As the AFP wraps up the military operations, President Duterte made his second visit to Marawi City last Friday. There, the Commander-in-Chief commended the gallantry of the AFP and the PNP to restore peace and order in the area. Padilla said the soldiers were inspired to see the President. Rocky Ignacio for The Nation.
His last assignment in eastern Visayas led to the breakup of a notorious narcotics cartel and the eventual arrest of his boss, erstwhile Municipal Mayor Rolando Espinosa Sr. His reassignment to Ozamis City on Christmas Eve last year just resulted in the dismantling of a dynastic criminal cartel in central Mindanao and the neutralization of 16 of its members, to include the city mayor, his wife and brother, plus members of his provincial board. No cop in the force has been given the tough assignment of chasing narco politicians entrenched in the power structure of local politics. More on Senior Chief Inspector Jovi Espinido, this report from Eunice Samonte.
During the press conference last week, the PNP Chief Police Director General Ronald Bato de la Rosa announced that he is not going to reassign the Ozamis City Police Chief Inspector Jovi Espinido. But in his press conference earlier, the Chief PNP pronounced that as now the most requested police officer, Espinido will now be assigned to different places in the Philippines, with most number of narco politicians mentioned in the list of President Rodrigo Duterte.
Mga taga-Ozamis mismo, mga Ozamis noon, ngayon lang nagkakaroon ng lakas ng loob na nakita na, uy, may PNP pala tayong pwedeng sandalan, mayroon tayong mapagkatiwalaan na PNP, so ngayon lang naglabasan yung kanilang mga information regarding as to where yung mga alleged mass graves na tinatago nila. So ngayon lang naglabasan yung information.
It can be recalled that last week, in a legitimate police operation, Ozamis Mayor Reynaldo Parahinog and 14 others succumbed to death after the private army fired shots to the group of policemen serving search warrant. The PNP chief also recognized the effort of Espinido, who has been actively involved in eradicating drug lords and illegal business wherever he is assigned. And just recently, Espinido was also in the spotlight for his involvement in the death of the alleged big-time drug lords Albuera Leyte Mayor Rolando Espinosa and Ozamis Mayor Reynaldo Parahinog.
Yeah, marami na ko sa kanya. Mag-determine muna tayo kung sinong next na target doon natin ilipat. Muna tayo.
Espinido is a licensed criminologist with a background in electronics who started police service in 1996. In his first 12 years in service, Espinido got 83 commendation awards, one of which was when he arrested top personalities like Commander Danilo Mojado or the leader of highway robbery back in 2004. And in 2012, Espinido made San Miguel Leyte an illegal drug-free zone where he was assigned as a police chief. In 2015, he was reassigned to Davao City Police Station before becoming the chief inspector at Albuera Leyte. Meanwhile, Espinido is expected to receive an award in the next days as part of his outstanding contributions in eradicating illegal drugs and crime over his period of service. Eunice Samonte for The Nation.
The embattled Customs Commissioner continues to perplex and aggravate members of a congressional subcommittee investigating a massive narcotic shipment bust in May this year, with his non-appearance at the resumption of the inquiry today. His presumed indisposition as the excuse for his absence has left many scratching their heads, and some more furious in this report from Marita Muahe.
Tapikin mo, huwag ka matakot.
Attorney Teddy Rabal, Attorney Marunilla,
Attorney Marunilla,
Director Estrella,
Director Estrella.
At the command of Congressman Fredinil Castro, customs broker Mark Taguba stood up, approached customs officials who, according to him, received tara and named them. Bureau of Customs tara amounts to 34,000 pesos to facilitate the exit of shipments from the agency hassle-free. He added the payment is done once a week.
I categorically deny that I received money from Mr. Mark Taguba. Your Honor, yung pong investigasyon na tumatakbo po ngayon ay nakakasakit po ng damdamin at talagang mahirapan po kami bumawi sa aming mga reputasyon dito.
In the list submitted by Taguba, the biggest slice goes to the Imports and Assessment Service or IAS in the amount of 10,000 pesos. While the others receives 2,000, 1,500 pesos. This is aside from the small amounts handed to Customs Police. Taguba says he communicates to them only through text messages and that this has been happening in the Bureau for the longest time.
Doon sa 10,000 napupunta sa IAS, kanino napupunta yan?
Hindi ko po alam. Ang binibigay ko lang po doon sa Tita Nani, yung 10,000. per container. Hindi ko naman po alam paano ang hatian nila doon. Every Friday po ito.
At what time?
Kung magte-text lang po sila kung kailan sila available. Usually mga hapon na po.
The named officials denies they receive money.
I categorically deny that I received money from Mr. Mark Taguba.
Meanwhile, Majority Floor Leader Rodolfo Fariñas expressed disappointments in the way the NBI conducts its investigation.
Is this the investigation that you conducted of a person and at whose warehouse 6.5 billion pesos of worth of shabu were confiscated?
The BOC officials named by Taguba asked that this case be further investigated and that those who are not involved be cleared. Reporting from Congress, Marita Muaje for The Nation.
Student reaction was not unanimously 2 thumbs up on this piece of welcome news. Some questioned the coverage and the criteria for eligibility on the now institutionalized entitlement for state university and college enrollees. PTV Sweden Velado reports on some having reservations and misgivings on how this newly ordained law of the land will be implemented when it takes effect next school year.
Filipino college students have mixed opinions and reactions on free tuition fee in state universities and colleges, or SUCs, following the signing of Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act of 2017 by President Rodrigo Duterte last August 3. There are proposals that only poor but deserving students should benefit from the government's free college education.
Kung yun naman po yung i-implement nila, wala po magagawa.
Dapat po i-imply po siya sa lahat po ng mga estudyante po. Hindi lang po sa mga piling estudyante lang.
Para sa lahat din po siguro. Kasi lahat naman gusto mag-aral. Hindi ko po sure kung dapat lang siya sa mga deserving. Kasi di ba parang unfair din sa iba na nag-aaral naman sa state youth.
Okay lang para mas madaming matulungan Pilipino.
According to Senator Panfilo Lacson, huge amount will be needed to fund the law. Thus, proper screening of students must be covered by the Implementing Rules and Regulations, or IRR. He says it won't be fair if the government would pay for students in SUCs who only cut classes and are also called repeaters. State University student Aizel suggests it would be better if there would be a bracket system instead.
Pwede din po na by bracket kung parang hatiin nila kung talaga bang kaya nito magbayad o hindi. Sayang din naman po kasi kung kaya naman magbayad, bakit ilibig? Kasi may nangangailangan pa.
Meanwhile, Budget Secretary Benjamin Diokno stressed the law does not state that free tuition in SUCs is only limited to poor but deserving students. He said, however, that a student must pass an exam first before he or she could qualify for free college education. Over 100 state universities and colleges are expected to benefit from the signed law on the first semester of academic year 2018-2019. Sweden Velado for The Nation.
The Department of Health continues to take steps to bring down cervical cancer deaths in the country. This is through HPV vaccinations in schools and communities nationwide. Pauline Requesto reports.
12 Filipino women die every day from cervical cancer due to human papilloma virus, or HPV. This is the number that the government wants to reduce through providing HPV vaccination in communities and schools. In Mandaluyong City, 180 female grade 4 students were among the first pupils in NCR who were vaccinated with a quadrivalent HPV. Despite the young age, Charmaine said she understands why she had to get vaccinated.
Kasi daw para iwasang magkaroon ng cancer. Katulad ng babaeng pinanood ko namin.
Health Undersecretary Gerardo Bayugo said DOH will conduct HPV immunization in schools from 47 different provinces in the country. HPV vaccination has already started in some areas, while the government has begun its community-based immunization in 20 selected provinces.
Kaya public schools, ating inuna, na gusto natin ng mga mas, nasa abang ng laylayan ng ating lipunan. Ang binigyan natin ng unang atensyon sa pag-ipunan.
On Under the HPV immunization program, students aged 9 to 10 will be vaccinated. 2 doses are needed to complete the vaccine, with the second one to be given 6 months after the first dosage. DOH, on the other hand, guaranteed that the government provides free cervical screening in health centers.
Upskill po yung uso ng araw. Hanggang ngayon po, ginagawa pa rin yan. Ngayon po, meron tayong additional screening test, yung VIA, visual inspection with acetic acid.
The Health Department also encouraged women to get vaccinated as prevention is better and less costly than cure.
Ang cost ng treatment range from 150,000 pesos to 500,000. But the vaccine is only 1,300 plus other mga siguro, sabi mo 2,000 ang cost. So that's how much you save.
Aside from immunization, disease from HPV can be prevented with healthy lifestyle, avoiding risky sexual behavior, and going for a regular checkup. Pauline Requesto for The Nation.